Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Backcourt Press, an NBA discussion by your host, Hunter Metnick. I did not post a video yesterday, unfortunately. I was looking to do it, but because of my schedule and being a freshman here at Temple University, it got in the way. So in this video, I'll be quickly discussing both games from the 10th and the 11th. I didn't watch many games on the 11th or last night. I really only watched the Warriors Magic game along with a little bit of the Blazers 76ers game. Me being a Warriors fan myself, the main game I wanted to watch was the game against the Magic, and it was a back and forth game for most of it, even though the Warriors kind of choked in the second quarter and then came back, and Steph Curry proved greatness. So I've got some notes written here that I would like to discuss, especially about the games on Wednesday, the 10th. So I'll get right into it. First game I want to talk about is the Raptors Wizards game. I didn't watch much of it, but in the times that I did watch it, Norman Powell really needs to be talked about more. I believe in this game he dropped a bit over 20 points. He had a bit 28 points on 18 shots. He did start at shooting or at the small forward position with guards Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet, and obviously bringing Cruz Boucher off the bench. Norman Powell's offensive skill set is fantastic, and he's exactly what a team like this needs. Personally, I think he should be coming off the bench still, but getting starter type minutes, just because of the depth that this Raptors team has. But for what they need him to do, I think his stock is rising, and I could see some really championship contending teams making a push at him for a trade during the trade deadline. Another thing I want to talk about in this game was just that I really wish Bradley Beal would just stop complaining and leave this team. I've heard him say over and over again about how bad the defense is, how bad the spacing is, everything like that. And I just keep hearing complaints, and he still wants to stay there. I don't know. I don't think he should. He had 24 points. He actually had a really bad game shooting, not bad game, shooting 8 for 20. Westbrook attempted 8 threes this game. I don't understand what's going on. Also, I got a new mic stand. If any of you guys didn't notice that, I got right into it, so I kind of messed up whatever I was going to say in the beginning. But that's my thoughts on that game. The Toronto Raptors came out with a win. I think everyone expected that. Atlanta blows an 11-point fourth quarter lead against Luka Doncic, and Trae Young was furious, and I believe got fined for what he said to the ref after the game. Trae Young played 42 minutes of this 48-minute game and only had 25 points, but had 15 assists and 7 rebounds. I think that's a fantastic stat line. And John Collins had 33 points. And literally today, I've heard that the Atlanta Hawks are taking calls for John Collins in trades. I was hoping that the Atlanta Hawks would not trade John Collins. I know he's asking for a lot of money, but he's like the perfect player next to a guy like Trae Young. He can spread the floor. He's a paint beast. He'll get you rebounds into every game, and he sets great screens for your star player and future player in Trae Young. But the bench really disappointed for the Atlanta Hawks. You could see by the plus minuses how bad the bench truly did play. And then you look like Tim Hardaway didn't even start in this game. Dorian Finney-Smith got the most minutes in this game for the Dallas Mavericks and only had 8 points, but I think his defensive – I didn't watch much of this game. I just watched the end of it. Another thing about this game is that the Atlanta Hawks need to start giving Onyeka Okongwu some more minutes to be that backup big man that they just don't have behind Clint Capella. But the Mavericks took away a win, a very needed win. One of the games I did watch on Wednesday was the Grizzlies-Hornets game, where I did not expect Kyle Anderson to look incredible, but Kyle Anderson could not miss from three. He shot 6 for 8 from three at the game, finished with 27 points, and led the Memphis Grizzlies to defeat the Charlotte Hornets by 16, and the Hornets have been red hot. The only other thing I have to say about this game, honestly, besides Kyle Anderson just could not miss, and the Hornets didn't know how to guard corner three somehow, is that LaMelo Ball's very, very good, and I feel like he's one of those players that just makes everyone around him better. I've talked about LaMelo in previous videos, and I just am a big fan of the way he plays. Dillon Brooks finished with a good game. The Memphis Grizzlies, as a team, played great. Grayson Allen, I believe, had 16 in the first half, was just red hot from three. Then he started missing and just kind of chucking up some bad shots, but they won anyway, so it doesn't matter. The other thing that I saw in this game that made me very, very happy, Gordon Hayward pump faked, the defender jumped like straight up, and then Gordon Hayward threw himself into the defender that did the Luka Doncic, Trae Young type tactic where you jump into the defender and they call foul, and they called an offensive foul. You could see the ref, even if you go back and watch the play, you could see the ref second guess himself because I believe he called a shooting foul, and then he blew the whistle a couple times, went like this, and went other way. And I was so happy about that because they're finally implementing the rule where you cannot just jump into the defender and get 2 free throws. That made me so happy to watch. The other game I watched a little bit of was Nets Pacers. Those were actually the two games that my dad had DraftKings on, so I want to see if he did well. He did not because we did not have Kyrie or Harding. I don't know how, but DeAndre Jordan outplayed Miles Turner, probably Miles Turner's worst game of the season, having 1 block, 3 rebounds, 3 points. He played terrible. This whole Pacers team played terrible. I didn't expect them to, especially if this was the game right after the Nets were on a 3-game losing streak. But DeAndre Jordan came out and played the most minutes on the entire team, put up 12 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 blocks. If this is the DeAndre Jordan we see from this team, they holding especially the Pacers team to 94 points, it's going to be very, very impressive to see what they do defensively. And obviously when Kevin Durant comes back and can run the 4 instead of running a very small ball lineup with Joe Harris at the 4 and Bruce Brown at the 3. Let's see what other games there were. I didn't watch any of the Clippers Timberwolves game. The Timberwolves suck. I'd even take the Detroit Pistons over the Timberwolves right now. I'm really sorry about to any to any Timberwolves fans out there, but the team as a whole is just not that good. Besides the fact that what's his name? Malik Beasley. I was going to say Michael Beasley, and I was like, no, that's not the right one. Malik Beasley's a stud and averaging 20 points per game for this team, and I really like him, and I hope he can continue finding that chemistry. Hopefully when Karl-Anthony Towns come back, this team can get better. The Bulls come away with a win as Zach LaVine puts up 46 points right next to Kobe White's 30, shooting, what is this, 17 for 31 for 3 on both of them. They're both shooting guards. They both shoot a lot of times. What can I say? Zach LaVine really does need to be an all-star this season. He's been tremendous, especially in the fourth quarter. I saw this stat sheet that said fourth quarter points this season. Zach LaVine leads all players with fourth quarter points, and this team's sitting at 10 and 14 strictly because of him. They've won games, and so he needs to be in the all-star game. Such an incredible offensive player. He can do everything on the court. You got to put some defense around him. Patrick Williams, he's got to start stepping it up and shooting more shots than just 7 in 40 minutes of play. They won this game, but the Pelicans are also not that great. Zion put up 30, but besides that, Lonzo Ball had a good game. Eric Bledsoe sucks. I am sorry. I'm very, very low on Eric Bledsoe this season, especially. They gave Josh Hart good minutes again. Kira Lewis Jr., a player that's going to keep growing. Watch out for him to be a stud as a backup point guard in this league. Nuggets Cavaliers, I have nothing to say about this game except for the fact that the starting lineup for the Cavaliers had both Andre Drummond and Jared Allen in it. This team's just going to have no floor spacing. I get Taurean Prince came off the bench and put up more minutes than Andre Drummond, but if you start a game like that, you're not going to have any floor spacing, and they got killed. They lost by, 38? So I'm just saying this Cavs team needs to trade one of them immediately and make sure that they know what they're doing with it. The Phoenix Suns, a team that I was very high on, defeat Giannis and his 50-point game. Giannis went to the free throw line 21 times in this game and made 17 of them. Let's just say, I'm going to say that, we've killed Giannis for his shooting in the past. He was 17 for 21 on free throws. That is a huge improvement, and that makes me very happy for Milwaukee fans. Until you look at he took a mid-range jump shot to end the game. It's Giannis Antetokounmpo, one of the worst jump shooters if we're going to talk star players, especially an MVP caliber player like him. He just cannot shoot the ball, and settling for a mid-range jump shot to try and win the game down 1 is just not your best option. I'm sorry, but Chris Paul was ruled out of this game. Next thing you know, he's playing and puts up 28 points and 7 assists, has a fantastic game. Devin Booker is doing everything on the offensive side of the court and even playing some solid on-ball defense. So, if I'm the Phoenix Suns, I'm happy about the way that Devin Booker's been playing, because he started off the year kind of slow with Chris Paul next to him, and next thing you know, they're playing fantastic and they're beating teams like the Bucks. So sitting at 15-9 right now, the Phoenix Suns, they are going to be a team no one wants to play in the West. And then the Lakers almost lost to Kenrich Williams, a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander less Oklahoma City Thunder team. Got forced overtime against the Lakers with their best player on the court, in my opinion, Darius Bazley, playing 43 minutes and having 9 points on 15 shots. This team is I love this Thunder team. They've built such a good chemistry there, and they had an 8-man rotation tonight, and they almost won. Kenrich Williams had 24 points, 3 steals, 6 rebounds. Fantastic game from a player that's not going to get minutes on many teams in the league. Al Horford's playing very well for Al Horford. He had 4 steals and 1 block, a fantastic defensive game. Lou Dort is such an incredible defensive player, especially on ball, and I'm glad that he's finally getting the recognition for it. They held this Lakers team to honestly a bad game. And you could see by only putting up 114 for the Lakers in overtime in an overtime game is not good for them. But LeBron's proving why he's one of the most clutch players in the NBA, and that's just kind of undoubted now, in my personal opinion. He's one of the top 3 guys for MVP race. And no, it's not just because he's the best player in the NBA, it's because of his impact on the court this season. If we're going to talk about yesterday's games, that was a lot of talking just about Wednesday for games that, I watched a little bit of, but not all of the games. We'll talk about yesterday's games. I did not watch the Pacers-Pistons game. Kind of expected what happened with the Pacers winning, especially after losing to that Nets team. But the Pistons, when Jeremy Grant has a bad game, this team is bad, and they're going to beat the top dogs, but they won't win that against anyone else. That's all I got to say about this Pistons team. Celtics Raptors happened. Peyton Pritchard and Semi Ojeleye carried this team, which was fantastic. Semi Ojeleye came off he started actually at the power forward position, 24 points on 8 threes shot, and 6 of them made. Fantastic game for him. Jaylen Brown, his shots weren't falling, so he said, you know what, I'm going to start playmaking. I'm going to show my playmaking ability. Finished with 10 assists. Jason Tatum finished with 9. Fantastic game from both of them. And Kemba Walker had a good game. We've been doubting Kemba Walker, and he comes out and puts up 21 points on only just 12 shots. So shout out to Kemba for sticking with himself. And Norman Powell, as I said earlier about the game Wednesday, Norman Powell came out and dropped 15 as in the starting lineup again. And Chris Boucher came off the bench and had 12 and 5 blocks. Start him over Aaron Baines. Aaron Baines, I love Aaron Baines, but he's playing awful. So I'm really hoping that Chris Boucher can assert himself into the starting lineup at some point, because I think he's a fantastic player next to a Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam's more offense, Chris Boucher's more defense, and stretches the court. Pascal's a big interior kind of guy. I'll get to the free throw line at will through spin moves on spin moves on spin moves. The Heat beat the Rockets. What can I say? Christian Wood's out, so this Rockets team is not going to be as good as they were, and the Miami Heat are going to make the playoffs as long as Jimmy Butler is healthy. Stop doubting them. I know we've been saying stuff about the fact that they started off the year really slow. They're 11-14 right now, and they've won like 4 out of their last 5 games. Jimmy Butler's been available, and they're winning. He puts up another triple-double tonight. He's been remarkable since he's come back from his injury. The other thing I want to talk about really quickly with the Miami Heat, I know Max Strus had a big game, but I didn't watch it, so I know he dunked on John Wall, but saw the highlight, but I didn't watch this. One, Kendrick Nunn's a shot chucker. I'm not a Kendrick Nunn fan, never been. Don't like the way he plays the game of basketball. And along with that, we yell at, Duncan Robinson tonight was 5 for 11 from the field, 5 for 11 from 3, only had 2 assists and played 27 minutes and had 15 points. People have been doubting the way he plays and critiquing how he plays, how he just comes off screen shoots, never creates for himself. And I'm looking at it right before I record this video on NBA TV. It was playing the Boston Celtics versus the 76ers. I believe it was the second round of the playoffs with Jimmy Butler, JJ Redick, Al Horford was on the Celtics. All these, I think it was 2019, the year Kawhi ended up winning the finals. JJ Redick does the same exact thing Duncan Robinson does, where he just comes off screens and shoots, maybe one dribble, then shoots, passes it, barely gets assists because he's not a great passer or an above average passer. And yet JJ Redick's been one of the most loved players throughout the NBA. And I'm over here why is Duncan Robinson not getting the same treatment he is, where Duncan Robinson is arguably shooting the ball way better than JJ Redick is this year. Duncan Robinson doesn't need to do anything else on the court. He's not going to be there in crunch time unless they're down 3 because of the fact of his defense. And he's out there to shoot threes. And oh my God, Eric Spoelstra asked him to shoot threes, and he does. So I don't know where this Duncan Robinson hate's coming from over the fact that he's just random. He shoots a lot of threes. That's his job on the court. That's all I got to say about those 3 games. I didn't watch them, but from what I've heard, it just bothers me that they're getting that much hate. The next game I'll talk about is the Trailblazers-Sixers game. I've said it in podcasts. I think I've said it in videos, and I'll say it again. Ben Simmons is a top 3 defender in the NBA right now. Yes, Damian Lillard had 30, but he shot so many, 6 for 21 from the field. If he doesn't get to the line 15 times, this team's losing. And he got lucky. He got to the field 15 times because Ben Simmons only got 3 fouls. Ben Simmons is such a versatile defender, can guard 1 through 5, and he's such an impactful player on the defensive side. Joel Embiid did not have his best game. I know I'm saying that, and he shot over 50% and had 35 points. But this team as a whole, it was just a good overall game to watch. Enes Kanter was bleeding at one point, came back and played terrible defense as he always does. He played 32 minutes, had 14 rebounds, and no steals, no blocks for center. That's just unexcusable. when this team really needs to get players like Zach Collins, Yusuf Nurkic, and CJ back, because as sitting at the 5 seed right now, they're only getting better, and they've been so injury prone for so long. So I'm excited to see what this team does when they have the full core back. I don't really have much to say about the Sixers. I would like to make a video later. I won't mention it today, but how Tobias Harris plays when he actually has confidence is fantastic. Doc Rivers pulls this confidence out of him, and we've seen it in the past when he was on the Clippers, and we're seeing it again this season. And I love to see mid-tier players who people consider overpaid playing their role on a team and just not getting that superstar notice. I love those kind of players. Andrew Wiggins does it. Tobias Harris does it. Some other players do it, and I just love that kind of stuff. Last game of the day I want to talk about is Steph Curry's MVP game. She's putting up 40 points, 4 steals, 5 assists, 8 rebounds on above 50% shooting, and chucked up 10 threes. It was such a fantastic game to watch. Orlando, let me see. Yeah, the Warriors were up huge with like 10, maybe 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. And then Orlando just goes on like the 17-0 run and comes back with no point guard. I know they signed, what's his name? They started the game with Frank Mason III as their starting point guard. He got injured in like 4 minutes of play. Next thing you know, Terrence Ross is their primary ball handler with 41 minutes. I've talked about Malik Monk being the either Michael Jordan or Deion Waiters by all the shots he's taking. Terrence Ross tonight was 1 for 9, and then he made 2 out of 3, and he just chucked them bad boys up. He shot 27 times, had 20 points on 27 shots. It was a terrible game for him. He was taking such bad shots at some points. I was so confused about what he was doing on the court. But when you don't have a point guard, Steve Clifford's a fantastic coach. That's the only note I have down for this game is you try and take the best shot available. And since you have players like you have Okeke, Birch, Mo Bamba, and Vucevic sometimes in the game all together, you chuck up a shot and you hope you get the offensive rebound and an easy putback. It was a fantastic game plan. It kept them in this game. Their big men started hitting threes. Vucevic was 3 for 6. Dwayne Bacon was 4 for 7. Okeke, fantastic player. I love the way he plays the game, was 3 for 5. Kim Birch, I believe it's Kim Birch, right? Yes, Kim Birch. He played 24 minutes. He had 9 points, but if you watch the game, his impactfulness for this Orlando team was huge this game. And I loved the way he played. So shout out to Steve Clifford for his rotations, the set that he gave his players this should not have been a close game. If you look at the rotations and everything, this should not have been a close game. This game should have been gone by the second half. But Steve Clifford's a fantastic, fantastic coach. I like Steve Clifford more than I like Mike Budenholzer. And so Steph Curry needs to be in the MVP talk. That's all I have to say about the Warriors team. And Juan Toscano Anderson and, what's his name? Michael Mulder. 2 players that no one's heard of before last season, and they're making impacts on a playoff team. And I love it. A lot of talking about the past 2 days. That's really all I got for today. Thank you for watching. Follow me on Instagram at Backcourt Press, Twitter at @BackcourtPress_. Subscribe, like, and comment your thoughts on these past 2 days, and I will hopefully see you guys soon. Peace out.